Hi, I'm an awkward, wholesome nerd boy looking for love and his own Ramona Flowers.
Hi, I'm a manic pixie dream girl obsessed with dream pop, Tegan and Sarah, and nerd stuff. I am Ramona Flowers.
Whoa, do you want to be my girlfriend?
Yes, but only if you defeat my 7 evil exes.
Uh-oh, let the games begin. Hi, I'm Frank.
And I'm Matt.
Today we're going to be playing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the game at the computer. Do you still want to go out with me?
Yeah, of course.
Welcome to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the game at the computer. You boot this game up, it has such a beautiful and charming opening. Oh, love it. Let's let you soak it in for a moment. So the biggest marker for me is this game is composed by Anamanaguchi. We'll get deep into it, but beyond that, Paul Robertson, Mariel, Cartwright, Kuniko, so many artists we know worked on this game, and then the guys at Tribute Games worked on this. We have so many friends who made this game, on top of Scott Pilgrim being its own complete fucking franchise. I wish I was friends with Edgar Wright, that'd be cool. But yeah, fucking turning this game on, just greeted with this. Oh, this is fucking awesome.
It gives me a lot of nostalgia because even though I don't have a ton of nostalgia for this game specifically, I have a ton of nostalgia for like old Anamanaguchi.
Hell yeah.
So like...
Oh, and this theme is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna jump just in a regular difficulty. Again, even the background, like, the game is so rich and, like, you know, like, nostalgia for old video games without being so, like, obnoxious.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll play this shit a bit. I'm gonna go with Ramona.
I'll be the friend.
Booyah. Her sick Adidas track jacket.
Oh, hell yeah, look at that black
Hell yeah.
and white.
Booyah. Alright, we're just gonna jump into the first level. Oh, again, the fucking Super Mario Brothers 3, like, opening map. Like, the first time I played this game, I was, like, blown away. But all the little details in this game, like, this is fucking so charming and cool. I love it. Presentation of this game is great. This track, I wanted to do just because this song, Another Winter by Anamanaguchi, is, like, probably one of my favorite tracks by them.
It's
like,
great.
I'm smiling as I'm talking about it. I love it. There's a lot I can talk about this, but you were actually a Scott Pilgrim fan before any of this stuff. What's your history with Scott Pilgrim?
So I was a animation student all my high school years. I took 4 years of traditional animation classes. And so when Scott Pilgrim was being released, everyone in my class was reading it. When the last 2 issues were coming out, it was right when I was a sophomore or junior in high school.
Yeah.
So my friends and I, like a group of 10 of us, we would all go to Barnes & Noble and read them together. We would get them as they came out.
Was Scott Pilgrim published as like a monthly comic, or was it just like whenever the next book was out?
It was whenever the next book was out.
Okay, cool.
And so I have a really big history of Scott Pilgrim. It meant a lot to me because Scott Pilgrim has a lot of themes about growing up and dealing with issues, things like that. And so I was, 15, 16 when I was reading it.
And also, the cool thing with Scott Pilgrim, I feel like now nerd culture is mainstream culture, but like in the, 2000s, late 2000s, like, it wasn't completely, it hadn't completely bubbled over.
It wasn't super obnoxious.
Yeah, so the stuff that, like, Ryan Lee O'Malley was referencing was, like, it was appreciated.
Cool.
It was cool, yeah.
So, like, I was really into Scott Pilgrim, and then when they announced the movie, I was like, oh, that's really awesome. That's super cool. But then by the time the movie came out, and I feel like out of nowhere, the movie was just getting so much hype, and so for me, my hype and my love for Scott Pilgrim had already peaked.
Yeah.
Like, it peaked with the release of the last book. I remember all of my friends going the day it launched to go get it. Like, it already peaked, and so when the movie first came out, I actually initially didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because I was so in love with the books.
Yeah.
No matter what, I wasn't gonna like the movie. Looking back on it now, it's a totally fine movie. It's the style's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting
but
over.
oh man,
you're getting corn dogs.
I'm trying. I'm getting.
Smash.
Dude, I'm mashing.
That funny enough, like, it's separate. That's kind of how I felt about It, the new It remake. Like, I love Stephen King, and I got deep into Stephen King like only 2 years ago. But I read It, so by the time the movie came out, it's like, okay, yeah, all right, quiet. I get it. New people are discovering it. But like, so yeah, same thing. When you're, it's a really weird feeling when you're deep into something and then it bubbles over. Yeah. It's kind of just like, you kind of get sick of hearing about it for so long.
Yeah, and it makes me feel kind of shitty. It's
I recognize that it's such a lame attitude to have.
I love Scott Pilgrim before you nerds, but like, it was just a weird sensation.
Yeah.
But like, when this game came out, like, I remember specifically thinking, like, even though I'm not a huge like beat 'em up fan, it's like, oh man, this game's soundtrack, the artwork, everything about it was so incredible.
So my introduction to all this stuff was, I was friends with Anamanaguchi at the time. I discovered Anamanaguchi because, like, when I was in junior in high school, I went through a chiptune phase.
Who didn't?
I know, right? Which is funny to think back now, but no, at the time it was like, man, this is all I fucking want to listen to. Like just rough, raw, fucking 8-bit music, which is so weird, but I loved it. So I discovered Anamanaguchi, and then they would play at PAX like in 2008, and I'd come up to them and be like, hey, I love your music. And they were young, they were just starting out, so they were like...
Yeah, they were like 20, 19.
Yeah, they were fucking way cool, and so like I just became friends with them. And then occasionally I would like travel to New York City to like see Anamanaguchi or Math the Band play, and anytime I did, Peter Berkman would just let me crash at his place, which was like, I even at the time was like crazy, like how friendly and nice that was. So there's one time I was crashing at Peter Berkman's place. Peter's the main dude from Anamanaguchi. He told me like, hey, we are gonna be doing the music for this movie, for this book, this whole fucking thing at the time. He told me about this big thing, how there was a game, a movie being produced, and he showed me Scott Pilgrim, and I started reading it, and was like, oh, this is really cool. And I got to hear some of the early tracks. So it was like, fuck yeah, my friends are gonna be involved in this game. And then yeah, cut to like Comic-Con, where you see Scott Pilgrim versus the World plastered across the hotel. You see this game being demoed at the Ubisoft booth. And then I found out that like, oh yeah, Mariel Cartwright, who does a lot of Mega 64 artwork, is also involved. And then it's like, all of a sudden, this like thing I was completely alien to, now all of my friends were involved with. And it was like, it's the same way anytime your friends get involved with something, even like Kelly Marie Tran with Star Wars, it's just like, fuck yeah, like you feel a little bit closer to it. And so it's really exciting. So I had no attachment. So Scott Pilgrim, the movie came out. I'm a huge Edgar Wright fan, so I really loved it. And in my head, it was like, man, that was a great movie. Everyone's gonna see it. And then that movie bombed because totally bombed. I thought, yeah, it's a great movie. But if you're a fucking like nerd, like if you're a very specific type of nerd, yeah, it's the coolest movie. Outside of that, no one gives a fuck. Yeah. And so it kind of hurt that like it flopped. And I felt bad for Edgar Wright because, you know, he puts so much detail into his movies. And then he got screwed over later with Ant-Man. Now he's just doing original properties like Baby Driver, which is great. But yeah, for the time, it was kind of a bummer that it kind of didn't go anywhere. But then the game itself was enough of its own thing where I didn't care too much about the Scott Pilgrim story. I loved the game more as just a throwback to old beat-em-ups. I never played River City Ransom, but like that's where like the change dropping shit comes from. But like just as a fan of beat-em-ups, it was so cool to have a modern beat-em-up that's really satisfying to play with friends. There's level up, there's progression. Again, Anamanaguchi's entire soundtrack for this was amazing. Like I listened to it completely separate of the game, like just in love with it. And then all the sprite work that like Paul Robertson became famous for. And there's another animator, Justin Sear, who does all the tribute stuff. Again, Mariel worked on this, Jonathan Kim, a ton of people who later went on to Lab Zero and then also tribute games. This kind of hyper specific, like hyper detailed sprite work. Also, these dogs are the Cerebus from Resident Evil.
Yeah.
But this hyper sprite work that you'd see in like SNK's game now starting to bleed into the indie game. Because at the time in 2010, indie games were just rough, crude 8-bit. Here was something that was way more advanced. And so yeah, the animation was like amazing to play through. And then again, all the video game references that you would see. So this game was awesome. I loved it. And then not too long after it coming out, the rights to it were just like lost, and it became delisted from both the PSN and Xbox Live Marketplace. So unless you bought the game when it came out, it's impossible to play. Like unless the game is installed or if you have it in your like purchases, you can't play this game. Which is crazy because so many people who worked on this game at the time have now gone on, like Mariel is, you know, making Indivisible.
She made Skullgirls.
Yeah, Skullgirls. The guys who worked on this game from Ubisoft Montreal formed their own company with Tribute Games, who they later made Mercenary Kings, which I loved. They made Flint Hook. You know, they have their own video game studio. And then Paul Robertson is doing his own thing. He does Rick and Morty bumpers for Adult Swim. Like, all these people worked on this game, but people can't access this, which is so like screwed up and messed up. And I interviewed the Tribute Games guys at E3 2016. Oh, but this is a cool part. And I asked them about it, and there was no clear answer. Just like, yeah, it was kind of up to Ubisoft, and it's not coming back. So it's screwed up. But hey, I still got it. I'm a pack rat. I still have my this is why I still have my 360 hooked up. Is like, there's all these random old games like Marvel Blast Ultra that like I don't ever want to let go of, and it's just fun accessing the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of interviews, though, and Anamanaguchi, I have an art platform called Public Invite, and last year we actually interviewed Luke Silas from Anamanaguchi, who's the drummer who helped write all the music for this game.
And he also has his own independent stuff with like Knife City and whatever his independent music name is now. But yeah, he's an awesome dude. Did he talk about working on the game at all, or like the process of it?
No, he does freelance music now for like reality shows and things like that. So in the interview we talked about like basically having like your hobby and your creative output become a job.
Oh, here, revive me. Okay.
Did I do it?
Press B. Yeah, and again, that's the Street Fighter text that pops up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now we're both dead. All right, that's fine. We just have to die and get a life. That's fine. Yeah, check that out. It's like a 10-minute like.
It's a 7-minute interview, and he talks about like he talks a little bit about Anamanaguchi, how he got started. But he mainly talks about how your profession, your passion, becoming your job becomes like a little mind bending. And a little draining. It's a really good interview. Check it out.
Yeah. The craziest thing with Anamanaguchi, so like they blew up with Power Supply in 2006. It was like a free EP they released on MySpace, and then they did Dometropolis, which kicked ass, and then the Nerdist podcast, Chris Hardwick's thing, picked them to be like their theme song. And then with this game, they kind of exploded.
Yeah.
And now they have this new legion of like hardcore video game fans who are like, oh my god, 8-bit nerd rock, Nintendo rock. And like, that was great for Anamanaguchi. Oh, you want to go to the video store? You don't think
What's in there?
Okay, so this game has a fucked up progression system. Here, jump in here. Where are you?
I'm in there.
I can't get it. It's like the Dynasty Warriors gates.
You can't get in there?
Holy shit.
You just hold up.
Yeah. Oh my god. All right, let's skip this. Jesus Christ. But yeah, with Anamanaguchi, they attracted this hardcore gamer nerd audience. And then once Anamanaguchi started shifting towards more like pop music and like J-pop inspired stuff, that original 8-bit nerd audience was like, hey, wait a minute, where's my gamer rock? Like, and I feel like Anamanaguchi got into this very like combative state with their fans. Like on Twitter and stuff, it was kind of, I love them, but like I could see that there was this kind of nasty like dissonance between their newer fans versus what the band wanted to do.
Well, even like, cause even with their pop and stuff like that, they actually like now they attract a ton of weeb fans and all that stuff. And like even like people like OmoCat as well, who attract a lot of weeb fans and stuff like that. They have to deal with like this hyper intense nerd culture that they don't really want to mess with, because like people in Anamanaguchi will spend hours and like days or weeks working on a song and stuff like that, and everyone's just like, oh, it sounds like anime, oh, it sounds like video games, and it just kind of like,
it feels so like flippant and disrespectful to like what they're really trying to do.
And it's like Anamanaguchi's working on a new album hopefully coming out this year, and it's like they're trying their hardest to like kind of distance themselves from all that stuff.
And also they just, as artists, you want to keep pushing yourself. You don't want to keep doing the same shit over and over and over
achievement.
again. Oh, cool. Let's take a look at my achievement history. I like this. Okay, so I got an achievement today in 2018. The first achievement I got for this was back in 2010.
Hell yeah.
I always love seeing the spread of like when I play games.
2013 is what you went back to this game.
Yeah, Josie and I played through this like together. Like every once in a while, like when I have friends over, I'll play like co-op games like this. But yeah, first 2010 to 2018. So still chipping away at the achievements. That's what we're all about here, achievement hunters, till we die. But yeah, that's kind of the first level of the game. Let's jump to the movie set level, which is a little bit crazier. All right, we're jumping to level 2. This is kind of like the movie set, what it was like for Edgar Wright to make his film adaptation. We didn't explain the progression, the system of the game. The first time playing this game, I was really confused because the game starts to get really hard. You have to go into shops and buy like food and items to level up your stats. I didn't know that the first time playing through it. So that's what you do. I'm sure anyone watching this video in 2018 will finally figure out how to play this game and go back. So you're welcome. For
this game doesn't have any hardcore fans or anything like that.
So, as we're saying with, like, Anamanaguchi and just, like, I feel like nerd culture in public, I feel like there's definitely a distance between, this sounds, like, arrogant, but, like, take it with a grain of salt, but, like, I feel like there's a distance between people who only consume stuff versus people who make it.
Yeah.
Like, people who consume stuff, they want things to be one way, and that's fine, but if you're an artist, you want to constantly challenge yourself, so you don't want to keep making the same shit over and over again, and that's why I love Anamanaguchi for always, like, pushing the envelope and wanting to do something more and more. And I feel like even with, like, Tribute Games, the guys who made this, they were just a unit for Ubisoft making like licensed games. Before this, they made a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for the Game Boy Advance in 2007 that looks exactly like this game. I'll put up a gameplay video, but if you look at it, it's the same animator, Justin Sear. It kind of looks like the prototype for Scott Pilgrim. So here they're just doing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles adaptation game. I think like based off the Michael Bay one, but they made it like an 8-bit like brawler. So they want to do something really passionate and like just going the extra mile. And so with Anamanaguchi, Berkman is the one who got me into Yasutuka Nakata. Like I discovered Perfume Capsule because Berkman like recommended it on Tumblr like back in 2010. And so Peter's always been influenced by like that kind of Japanese pop aesthetic, not necessarily the video game aspect of it. And so yeah, they've kind of found this new they got a tour with like Hatsune Miku or whatever, but like they found this new audience that gets them. But like yeah, it must be really frustrating having to constantly appeal to your appeal to some fans while also doing what you want to do. That's why, I don't know, I usually take the artist side of stuff, and I recognize if things aren't always the same, that's okay, move on. What are you trying to do back there?
I'm trying to pick up the bat.
Fuck, let it go, Bruce.
Wait.
But yeah, the game itself, I liked it. I played it when it came out. I think I played it a second time. And then playing this game to like refresh myself for the show, it's a fun game. It's really charming. But yeah, it's really hard to do a modern brawler just because like, brawlers originally meant to be arcade games where you dump quarters in them. You play them for an hour and move on. So how do you make like a profit off of that? Like a modern indie game. I know there's like a newer game called Fight and Rage and stuff. I haven't played it yet, but yeah, it's kind of hard. So when people talk about modern brawlers, Scott Pilgrim is always brought up, but again, it's not available on modern consoles, so it's kind of hard. But yeah, cool ass game. I hope people can still play this if you got it on PS3 and 360. And if you've never played it, I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to watch YouTube videos or go to a friend's house who does own it. But yeah, it's a cool ass game. And as the game gets deeper, like again, I don't care so much about the Scott Pilgrim property, but like, you've played through it. How is it as an adaptation? As someone who's read the books and like basically seen the movie and done everything.
Well, I mean, the game has no ties to anything.
Really?
No.
No?
No.
I thought this was like the movie. You're playing the movie. No?
No, not really. No.
Well, don't you fucking doesn't?
Is there like? There's no movie set or anything.
Yeah, in Scott Pilgrim, he fights Victor Lucas and he skates down the thing.
Yeah, but it's not like. I don't know. I don't see the game as like a direct adaptation of like of the movie or the comics.
Right.
I see them as separate things.
Okay.
We both got hit by the same boulder.
No, that's all right. I'll wait for it. All right.
Come get me up.
Yeah, I'll get you up. We're helping your friends out. And you guys, the animation here, real cute.
I mean, for me personally, my favorite thing related to Scott Pilgrim are the books.
Yeah.
I mean, I was actually thinking when I discovered. God, fucking shit. I was actually thinking.
Where'd you go? You're supposed to go here.
I had it back up because I was in the path.
Hell yeah.
I was actually thinking when you said we were gonna cover this game, I was like, I wonder if because I read those books when I was 16.
Yeah.
I wonder if I read them now, how would they hold up?
Yeah,
I want to say, hey, those are my favorite. Like, I love those books when I read them, and I have great memories tied to them, reading them with my friends.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that if I read them today, maybe they wouldn't be as good as I thought.
Yeah, because I also feel like. I don't know, I like, now that I'm 26 and I view relationships completely different, I feel like, yeah, when I was in college and a young nerd boy, like, pining for a girlfriend, ooh, you know, like, in this certain way that I feel like Ramona Flowers is, like, again, that manic pixie dream girl trope, like, is definitely an unhealthy thing to fantasize about, and I wonder if you read it today, do you see through that, or is it balanced enough? I don't know. I also think, like, nerd culture now is different than 2010. Yeah, would it be as fresh? I don't know, but Brian Lee O'Malley has Snot Girl out. Have you read that? Is that good?
No, I have like 4 or 5 friends who are obsessed with Snot Girl.
Yeah.
And I have not read it really at all because I kind of fell out of reading comic books and manga and stuff like that. I only recently started rereading them.
Yo, you killed me.
I didn't mean you were in the way. But I do want to read Snot Girl for sure.
Hit LB, you get a call down a homie.
I'm trying. I'm getting fucked up.
Hit LB, I want to see it.
I'm trying. I just hit it.
All right.
There you go.
That's nice. Shout. Ooh, a little kissy.
But I do eventually want to read Snot Girl, but I think I might wait until like the entire series is finished and then check it out. But I do really like Brian Lee O'Malley's art. I read his other book, The Across the Sea, or like.
Is it a comic or like a novel?
I think it's a comic, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm sure there's like hardcore Scott Pilgrim fans who are really mad at everything we're saying, but you know what? That's all right. You're like you'll be one of the evil X's I fight.
Me or the fans?
No, the fans. I'll fight all 7 of our fans.
All 7. I'll fight Jared Thorbon.
Hell yeah, dude. Hey, I bet. Hey, you know what? Big ups to Jared. I bet when people were on the fence about buying this game, I bet one day Jared from Cheap Ass Gamer posted a deal. Hey, Scott Pilgrim's on sale for $5, and then on a whim, someone probably bought that, and now, they have that forever on their system. Oh, we're supposed to break this. Shit. Well, we're gonna die. Other modern brawlers that are good are Castle Crashers. You know, that's the other one that gets kind of brought up. Oh, Bruce. Where did Bruce go? All right.
I don't know where.
This is way easier to play now. All right, let one man do the job.
Controversial opinion. I've never liked Castle Crashers.
I don't get that. How can you not?
It looks like shit.
Hey, Dan Paladin. That's another friend of mine, Dan Paladin. I like his art. I think it's Newgrounds, old time.
I really don't like Newgrounds art.
Speaking of Newgrounds art, we got an email from homie Jonathan Nilsson. He asked, what are your favorite browser games? He talks about playing shit on Newgrounds. For me, Line Rider, classic. Oh, we're gonna do a film. Did you play Line Rider?
I did. My favorite browser games is Frog Fractions.
Oh, that is true. That's a good one.
Frog Fractions. The Teen Titans fighting game on ContoNetwork.com.
Was that cool? Was it like a brawler or was it like a Street Fighter type?
It was a Street Fighter type.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character in that?
I think it was the like the little baby kid who with the robot shit. What's his name?
That's in Captain Commando. I don't know if they ripped that off.
Beast Boy was also fun in playing that. I played a lot of games on CartoonNetwork.com.
I played a lot on Nick.com, but I played a lot on Newgrounds. Britney Spears Dress Up was really good.
Why'd you play that?
Christina Aguilera Dress Up was really good.
Why'd you play that?
Gonguro Girl. A lot of hentai dating sims. You know, when you're like 11, 12.
Wait, did you play those meet and fucks?
What's a meet and fuck?
You know what that is.
Meet and fuck. What is that?
Yeah, people in the comments, everyone knows Frank's played meet and fuck.
What's meet and fuck?
And he's just acting sly.
Does it sound like something I'd like?
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it. Sounds cool.
He's just acting sly right now. You totally know Frank played meet and fuck when he was 14.
Is it like a dress-up game and you boom boom? What is it?
Let's do it at the computer with it.
All right, fair enough. Spank the Monkey. That one kicked where we slap the monkey. That's a good game. Pico is good. I was on Newgrounds. One I really liked. That was a game. There's one where you drive like a motorcycle and you like tap left or right on the mouse on the fucking keyboard to like drive this motorcycle, and it's like a physics game. That game's cool if anyone knows what that is. And then I like I think it's like Draw with Your Friends or Let's Draw It. It's like a game where you have to go online, draw. It's basically Drawful, but it was an internet browser version of that. So that was fun. Those are my favorite fucking browser games. My favorite Bowser game is Super Mario World.
I don't know what my favorite would be.
What's your favorite Bowser game?
I'm not sure.
Mario Party. Is that Scott Pilgrim up there?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Look
Lucas Lee, hell yeah. The boss battles in this game are also always really like cool and dynamic. I don't know what the deal is with this one. Lucas Lee isn't that Chris Evans at Captain America?
I think it's Chris Evans.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, that's Scott Pilgrim versus the World at the Computer versus the game versus the movie versus the comic book by Brian Lee O'Malley. Delisted. You can't get this anywhere else. So, thank you. So everyone, PayPal me $5. So that was Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game for the Xbox 360, also available on PS3. You can't buy it anymore, so unless you have it in your account, you're screwed. This game came out in 2010. Anamanaguchi worked on it. Mariel, Paul Robertson, all my homies, the Tribute Games. I interviewed them. Check that interview out. Lots of cool people worked on this game. I think it's really significant because it's a good modern brawler, but there's a mystery you can't get anymore. Lots of great people worked on it. Anamanaguchi. Whoa! So the culture around it's great. The game itself, fun, but not the best game ever. I give it a thumbs up, but, shout out to all my friends who worked on it. Pretty cool piece of gaming history. Brucey, what do you think?
Fuck. For me, I'm not the biggest beat 'em up guy, but the aesthetic of this game, the sprite work, the music are all incredible.
Cool.
Like, I could have just GIFs of this game.
Yeah,
just watch GIFs of this game all nonstop. So I'm gonna give this game a solid thumbs up.
Hell yeah.
I've beaten it once. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But all the charm it has elevates it, and it just again. The game soundtrack alone makes me super nostalgic for old Anamanaguchi, and it's even if you've never played this game and you can't play anymore, check out the soundtrack at least.
Yeah, download the soundtrack. It's
soundtrack's
awesome.
incredible.
It's really, really good. Send us more emails at AtTheComputerShow@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Frank Howley.
I'm _Bruceums.
And then, that's it. You can't get this game anymore. And hey, who knows? Maybe you won't be able to get this YouTube video in the future. So go to clipconverter.com and, rip this video, put it on your hard drive, put it on a thumb drive, upload it to your school's YouTube, upload it to your school's drive, Google Drive, whatever. Maximize the copies, get it out there, put it on Kazaa, spread the word, share this video. Because, hey, we could be delisted, but so can you.